document, and I wrote a few pages on it, and I really didn't have an outline of what it would be at first. And then I invited my friends, and then my friends invited some other friends. So it came to be a big story outline to which we had just went on with.
I just write documents about like whatever, but when I started writing Grace Scott with them, it just kind of like, I just learned so much and I changed so much as a writer.
Well, I wrote lots of stories before, but they weren't very long.
I kind of wrote a few stories and I had them like share with my friends, but we didn't really make them big or long. We didn't really edit them.
It changed how I feel because I never really wrote before that in a way that consistently.
Dialogue, I learned that a lot throughout this, and like how like someone reading it thinks of a character.
Great Scott was the first book that we actually wrote that was progressing, and we actually got to finish because most of the stories I started and I just left behind.
We really wanted to finish it because we really liked it, and so that helped me become a better writer.
But Great Scott has such a good plot, it's just so good, you just want to write more.
Writing it with other people, it's makes the story a lot better, I'd say.
Not all of our thinking was right together as one. We kind of had some side stories that we didn't really get to.
I liked having it as a group because then you'd have all these ideas, like if you ran out of one, and you could just go to another person and ask, okay, what should happen next? But the bad part about that is, if you don't want something to happen, if you're really planning something, then you just wouldn't have it.
I think it made it a little bit easier because, like Acadia said, we all had a bunch of ideas and we could all put it together. But it was kind of challenging because sometimes one of the minor writers that didn't really care about it would write with a bunch of mistakes and like in the wrong tense, and then we would have to edit that.
So talk to me more about the fact that you had other people that were writing in here, and you constantly had to go back and kind of reread what had been written. And so in that case, were you looking at more than just storyline? Were you looking at some of the mechanics of the writing?
I was looking for like capitalization, and punctuation was kind of bad, and there was random capitals in the words, and some of the words were missing too. I really didn't think anybody would want to read it. I thought it would just be us four writers reading it and writing it together. It's exciting because we have a good story and we want to share it, but it's kind of nerve-wracking because what if there's a lot of mistakes and like they don't like it?
I didn't think about was how people thought of it and how people would react to it, and about how many people like this story now as it's been grown.
I like never thought you'd be sending letters to famous authors to read your story about it. That was one of the things that surprised too, because usually they have so much stuff going on, like they're either writing a book or going around somewhere. But when they actually write back, I mean, they actually notice that you're doing something big, and it's just so cool.
So first it was going to be White Blood, and we stuck with that for a while, but then we found out there was already a book called that, and since the story was in Britain, I decided why not call it Great Scott?
Mostly fantasy, like a lot, because we just thought it'd be really cool to add stuff that you'd think would like be like very cool in the world, like something that's hovering or flying or something like that. So it's definitely a fantasy genre.
It takes place in future time, but it takes place all over the place. We developed our characters. We had two characters at the beginning, Millie and Scott, and then once they went on their adventure, we there were some characters that came, and some of them may have left, and some of them may run away or may come back, and it really comes along once they go on their journey.
All the characters are mostly kids and teenagers. There's one who's an adult-ish.
The two main characters, Millie and Scott, they can both fly because they ate a white moss they found on a bush. They go on an adventure because they want to have a better life because their old life is not very good.
Well, there were also surprises that we did not think of when we were planning it. We mostly just planned about how it was going to work out in the middle, but we necessarily did not have an end. And then we had some surprises come up, like maybe if they do that, or maybe if they do this, maybe if they do that, and maybe if that character comes in. And we had some surprises along the way.
Well, each chapter, it's just usually a different person, but if they're in a really good part, we just keep it the same. And the chapters in this book are usually like 2 pages long, 2 to 3.
We did change for like Scott and stuff, some dialogue and like how we wanted the reader to like think of the character. There are some things like we could be on after school and we'll be writing and we'll get to points where readers would think something will happen, but if someone else is on, we'll think like, let's make it so they like will think their prediction was like all off, and it was like so fun to do that and stuff.
Well, we made this doc called Great Scott Cover, and I just asked everyone to give me what they looked like and like details on what they're wearing, and then I asked what they should be doing, and so they gave me information about that. And then once I was ready, it was cool because I did a thing where they could watch me draw, and so they could tell me what I could fix doing along the way.
So as you know, we have finished Great Scott, the first book. But on the computer, we are working on the sequel to Great Scott. This is Great Scott, the Hidden Power, and the second one is Great Scott, the Secret. And there's going to be some really nice twists in it and plans about. And also, Aleyah is actually working on the cover for the second one, so we're going to wait to see that soon. And I also want to talk about as you know, if you've read Harry Potter, you know there's been some twists in that and how the planning, and we're going to try to do that right now doing the sequel, and it's going to try to work out. So
I kind of liked how when we started it just started out as a little adventure when Millie wanted to live a different life, but then along the way I liked how it kind of changed the plot, and there's a lot more problems that they had to solve, and it wasn't just a matter of wanting to live somewhere else.
We are going to use some of the same process, but some of the things we're going to change because some of the things in the first book slowed us down, and we have better solutions to that and how we could do that better or do this. And so we're working on the sequel. Yeah.
Great.